You know, when I was a kid growing up, my mama used to always tell me, JT, there are some things in life that money just can't buy. You can't buy love, you can't buy loyalty, and for Ohio State, you can't buy a win against Michigan. Ohio State falls 13-10 for the fourth straight year in a row against the team up north. Ryan Day improves to 1-4 all time against Michigan. And what makes this loss more disappointing for Buckeye Nation than the previous three losses, why this one stings more, is because of the high expectations that you had coming into this year. You came into this season with the mindset that there was no chance in hell Michigan was going to be able to be the team that you invested $20 million into. When you think about the move that Ryan Day made to sacrifice play calling, hiring Chip Kelly as his offensive coordinator, getting Quinshon Judkins and Caleb Downs out of the portal. Both those guys were two of the best players available from that portal cycle last year. You get Will Howard, who was a pretty decent pickup as well. And what did you have to show for it? Where did that money get you? Another loss to Michigan. Will Howard in this game was not good. 2 bad interceptions, 19 of 33. He just looked like a deer in headlights out there. The first pick that he threw early in the game led to Michigan taking a 7-3 lead. How do you throw that bad of an interception inside the 5 of your own territory? And then the second interception that he threw really was the hump that broke the camel's back, per se, because you throw it in the red zone in the third quarter when your offense has kind of already been struggling to move the ball downfield, because Michigan's defense was outstanding today. Their defensive line was phenomenal. Their secondary played great. And the missed opportunities that Ohio State couldn't capitalize off really costed them. Yeah, Will Howard threw 2 interceptions, but your defense came away with 2 interceptions as well, and yet you weren't able to capitalize off any of them, and then you missed a crucial 34-yard field goal, which should have been a cheap shot. All this money that Ohio State put into this team was in vain, because you're not going to the Big Ten championship. And then 2, you still lost to Michigan, a team that didn't invest as much money as you did going into this season. All the guys that they have on their team are not making nowhere near the money that Jeremiah Smith is making or anybody else on Ohio State's roster is making. And that's what makes this loss so disappointing. This loss just hits different if you're an Ohio State fan, because you really felt like this was the best team that money could assemble. Just for Michigan, a program that just paid like $12.5 million for a 6-star quarterback pretty much, you know, they're pretty much saying, we're going to get in the same stratosphere as you. And if Michigan is beating you without paying this much money for their squad they beat you with, imagine what they're going to do when they start investing more money into getting players out of the portal to improve their squad, paying guys and recruiting. They already are doing it. You know, this game shows me that eventually Michigan is going to be back at the same level as what they were before Jim Harbaugh left. They're kicking your ass without paying guys, and they're going to be kicking your ass still once they start getting all those big funds from their donors. And this game is going to give Michigan more ammunition to continue to believe in Chiron Moore. If Chiron Moore would have lost this game, there would have been legitimate questions about if he could have success at Michigan. But with this win now, he gave his whole entire program confidence in him moving forward. And Michigan, you just have to respect the fact that as ugly as this season was for them, they never bended on who they were. They never tried to change who they were. They stayed true to themselves. They won this game with crappy quarterback play. They've had to go through this entire season with ass quarterback play. And you want to know why it didn't matter? Because from a mentality standpoint, they're just miles ahead of Ryan Day. I don't think Ryan Day is a bad coach. I would take this dude in a heartbeat over Mario Cristobal down there in Miami. But the problem with Ohio State is that They just don't have the mentality needed to beat a team like Michigan. Because when you're playing a team like Michigan, a team that only cares about running the football, they're using Alex Orji, who was a highly touted quarterback that they got not too long ago, as pretty much like a running back when he comes in at quarterback. You know, this team doesn't care if you know what they're going to do, because how are you going to stop it? And when the team can just have success running the football on you and you know you can't stop it, it breaks you mentally. Ryan Day, after this game, when you listen to him in the post-game presser, you heard a broken man. Because no matter what, he still doesn't know what it's going to take to beat this team. And that brings me back to my first point. They paid $20 million for this team. And to lose for a fourth straight year in a row to your biggest rival, you see, that's how big this game is. That's why they call it the game. Ohio State could go on, run the table in the playoffs, win a national championship, but yet losing this game would be a stain on the season. Michigan had one of the worst seasons ever in the last decade, and yet nobody's really going to talk about it because of how massive of a victory this was for them. This is the Super Bowl for both teams in a sense. And it really leaves a sour taste in your mouth knowing that you put so much stock into this being the year, championship or bust, just for it to bust before you even get to the playoffs. You know, Michigan beat you not only without a good quarterback, but two of their best players were absent. No Will Johnson, didn't hear Coasland Loveland's name called once during this game, and yet Michigan still beat you the way they have the last couple of years. 172 rushing yards on 42 attempts. They outgained you 172 to 77 yards, and you only gave your running back 72 carries. I thought the strength of Ohio State's team this year was going to be their run game. Quinshon Judkins, Travion Henderson, I thought they were going to be the best 1-2 punch in all of college football, when it looks like all the money that you gave Quinshon Judkins could have gone to improving your offensive line. Now, you losing two starters on the offensive line definitely hurt you in this game, and Michigan was able to exploit that. But when you tell me that you paid $20 million for this team, rather it be to keep guys from leaving, to get guys on the coaching staff, whatever, I wouldn't have believed you with the way this game went. And it's the epitome of why you can't throw out these hypothetical scenarios when it comes to the playoff discussion. Who will beat who will be favored over who on a neutral field, because it doesn't mean anything. Ohio State went into this game as a 19.5, 20-point favorite and lost by 3. You know, anybody can fall, no matter how big of an advantage you have from a roster standpoint. Because at the end of the day, styles make fights. And the way that Ohio State tries to win games, it's cool when you're going up against everybody else. Ryan Day is 47-1 against the rest of the Big Ten. He's 1-4 against Michigan. He just can't beat this team. He just can't. You paid $20 million for this team this year, and you still couldn't beat your biggest rival.